Hey, how's it going, everyone? This is Millennial Mindz. I'm back with another video. I'm going to cover some general finance. Right now, the market is insane, so I think it's really important that we have these fundamentals in place, and I want to make sure everyone's protected. The volatility is ridiculous right now, as we all know, so please follow closely as we go through these points, all right? The most important thing with any type of finance or budget or investing or anything, you have to know where you stand. You have to know your numbers. It's very important. If you make $2,000 a month, I think that's reasonable. And let's say your goal is to save this amount, invest this amount. Your bills come out to this amount, and you have a little retirement over here. That's well off. That is the goal, and you just have to follow that goal. But if you're someone that's making, let's say, $10,000, and you have no plan, you have no goal, you have no direction of where you're trying to go, you're going to get screwed. And especially if you're an investor, you're really going to get screwed, because chances are you're going to bet your whole hand. You're going to be taking these risky, highly volatile investments based off what someone said, like Elon Musk. Everyone invest into this and you're going to make a bunch of money. Then you take all your money and you invest in that. And then, the big wigs, the people on the high up levels, they're communicating and they decide, hey, let's go ahead and get our profit now. So you want to make sure you know where you stand. It doesn't matter how much you make. Keep everything in percentages. Like I say, like I tell everyone that's investing, don't worry about the dollar amount. Keep everything in percentages. Rather, this year you make 2,000. Next year you make 10,000. Next year you make 20,000. Next year you make 1,000. Keep everything in perspective of percentages. Okay, let's say you spend 10% of your income on your food, 10% on your debts, or 20% on your debts, including maybe your automotive payment. And let's say you invest 10 or 15%. Stick to these numbers. You know what I mean? If you don't see an investment this month or however you're investing this, quarter, whatever, then just let it sit in your holding account. If you're using Robinhood, for example, that account that you just invest money into, that's your holding account. Every month, deposit the same amount. If you don't invest it in something, if you don't put it into Microsoft or whatever, just let it sit there. It's going to help your overall budget. It's going to help your overall strategy, and it's going to get you into that motion. That monthly, that normalcy. If you make something normal, it helps a lot. So you just want to get used to it in the beginning. You have to be honest with yourself. How much can you afford to invest? If you're someone that, let's say you're making $4,000 a month, you probably shouldn't be investing $2,000 a month into the stock market. More reasonable might be 10, 15, maximum 20%. That's what I say. I don't know your situation, but it's all going to depend on you. If you're making, $4,000 a month, maybe you have some college debts that you have to pay off. It's the norm. Like they're saying millennials are screwed pretty much because we have these high college debts and things of that nature. You can live up to that, or you can just go ahead and adapt to it. At the end of the day, many of us have 30, 40, 50. I know people with over $100,000 in student loan debt, and they're living just fine. You know what I mean? Same thing with a house. A house is a large, it's a big investment, and it's often profitable, and it helps in the long run, but it's still debt. Your mortgage is still debt for the average person that has a mortgage. If you have $140,000 in student loan debt, or you have $140,000 in mortgage debt, debt is debt. We all just continue on and we continue living. So debt is debt. If you have to make those payments on a monthly basis for your student loans, you'll live. You'll once again, normalcy. You'll just have to get used to it. We all have to, and at the end of the day, as long as you're paying something and you're not delinquent, they're happy, you're gonna live, keep it moving. Many people say that using a savings account is kind of a waste of money, but don't be an idiot. You know what I mean? Like I've heard people say, hey, save money is missing opportunity. Something that you could have, made a profit on. At the end of the day, investments often aren't instantly liquid. Sometimes you need something right now. If you get in a car accident and you need to pay some money for some medical bills or whatever, you need that right now. So as people, recommend, 3 months to 6 months, I personally recommend 3 months. But depending on your situation, if you have children, things of that nature, the amounts can vary. But I say 3 months minimum of total income, or maybe 6 months of your bills. And rolling back into debt, I understand that people say, oh, I'll never pay that off. I can relate. If I have $40,000 in student loan debt, it'll seem like I'll never get to pay that off. It's that's a big number, 40 grand. But at the same time, when I started investing, I never thought that I'd look into my investment account and see such a big amount. Now, take into consideration that's compounding interest over time, but still, a large amount is a large amount. You can, depending on your situation, if you have to, chip at that mountain, eventually it'll get paid off. It's unfortunate, but hopefully you decided to go to school for something that's beneficial to you and gives you the opportunity to make some more money. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about, really. If I, could have kept a normal job and made $20 an hour, or if I went to college and made, $35 an hour, chances are your monthly income is gonna, outweigh what you would have been making if you were sticking to that $20 an hour job, even after you're making your college loan payments. So, keep that in perspective. You have this large amount of debt, but it ideally it benefited you in the long term. So back to investing. Most people, their introduction to investments often is their 401k account with their company they're working with. And once again, you don't work for anybody, you work for you. Just because your name's down on a piece of paper as an employee does not mean you work for them. You work for you work for your family, you work for yourself. That is your first business. That's your your point of entry into life. You have to focus on yourself, all right? So you work for yourself, you don't work for anyone. You don't work for NASA, you work with NASA. You have a contract, you signed a piece of paper, they signed a piece of paper, and then it's a contractual agreement. So you work for yourself. But the 401k, it wasn't intended to be the only form of retirement income. It's supposed to be a additional to what else you're doing, to your savings, to your pension, which of course we all know. Millennials, we're kind of, cut out of the pension. Even on the military side, they're getting rid of that. So, just keep in mind that's not supposed to be your only retirement engine, but it's for the most of us, it's a big part. So I always recommend people take advantage of that, especially if you have a company match. That's free money. Even when you get hired onto a job or you're comparing two different employers. If one's paying 50 plus a 5% match and one's paying 49, plus a 10% match, you need to mark those numbers down because that's free money. Don't take that initial 50 and 49. I'm going to take the 50. You need to go ahead and mark those numbers down so you get a better idea of what the overall income is going to be. Of course, other perks as well, but keep that in mind. Retirement income in your 401k, your 401k match, it's very important in the grand scheme of things. And then in addition to that is your Roth. I always recommend people get a Roth IRA account, and there'll be another video to kind of explain the comparison, your 401k, your Roth IRA, and how to kind of tie those in in the long term for your retirement. But your Roth, pretty much it's post-taxed retirement funds. So when you go to, let's say you become of age, I don't know what it is now. For us millennials, it's probably gonna be like 67. But let's say you turn 67, you're eligible to pull out your money from your 401k, and let's say you have $2 million in there. You don't really want to go and just say, hey, give me my 2 mil. I'm gonna, put it in my account. I'm retired, because they're gonna hit you with taxes. Your 401k is taxable income once you retire. Initially, it's not taxed. It's taxed once you retire. So that's why you kind of want to have the option to mix and match depending on your taxable income when you retire. Your Roth IRA, let's say your Roth IRA has $1 million in there and your 401k has $2 million. Depending on what's going on for the year, tax cuts, tax breaks, whatever, taxable income adjustments, depending on, who's in office and things of that nature, you might have to adjust. You might say, hey, this year, I took out $100,000 for my from my 401k, and that that might be reasonable for you. And they're gonna hit me with taxes on 30% of that, so $70,000 will come to my pocket. But I also need to supplement that because my living wage, my what I require to live comfortably, is $90,000. So you can go to your Roth. Hey, I need that. I need to take 20 from that, and that's not going to be taxed when you withdraw that. Okay, so that's kind of why it's important to have that Roth and have that 401k. One year you might be taxed 30%. Another year you might be taxed 20. It's all going to depend and vary upon what you need to live and what your taxable income rate is. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Leave comments below. Give me any ideas of any other videos you'd like me to cover, all right? Appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.